Legendary shit, man. Another one when I was going deep thinking about like fucking you know, labels in the dub history, you know what I'm saying? Like big labels that we have. Of course I had to reach out to George Lopez, but then I realized, damn, it was one I had skipped. I had skipped someone that came a little bit before the DSR thing, so I had to go back and do my history, man. Like really go back and look at these labels. It's a few people I've been reaching out to, but this is one guy, forgive me, man, I was forgetting about when I was doing my original list of people I wanted to interview. I got Corey Clout. I mean, this is like, when it comes to this indie shit, Dallas boogie shit, I mean, we get into the beginning, we get into the root, we get into the when the lights was first on us, like, you know, nationally. That's where we at with this thing, man. So man, Corey Clout, man, on the driver's seat. Do they still call you that, Corey Clout? Or
that stuck forever. So,
yeah,
you know,
it's crazy because it's like Clout is such a big word now. But you were saying that in the 90s, like that was,
man, you know, I think the first time that I saw the word clout and I liked it, it was Mark McGuire and Steroid Man. The other guy was back to back on a baseball pictures, and it said Kings of Clout.
Dang, for real, that was a while back.
What the hell is clout? And I looked it up. I said, clout, really? It's better than money. It's better than, you know, it's influence. You know, so I stuck with it. I always stuck in my mind, and that's years before I even came up with a company name. I always just liked that word, and then when I started my marketing company, that's what I called it, was Clout Marketing. So
yeah, so you did the marketing before the actual label, or how did it work? Like,
so it was crazy. Like, I never really got into the music industry. I was always in the media at first.
Yeah, okay.
So I had known that I was going to prison for marijuana.
Yeah.
And I was gonna be gone. My mother had a local publication called Metro News, and she's like, "You going to prison? You gonna be gone, you know, 4 or 5 years. You need to at least invest, you know, and do something." So I said, okay. I studied journalism and business in school, even though I just was going to play football. But yeah, I said it's something that I was comfortable in. So I said, let me put together a publication. So I came up with Dallas Entertainment Journal way back then and put it out. I did 6 issues as a tabloid newspaper and put it out.
Dope.
And when we were doing that, how we got into the music was, I was the only one covering local music stuff. Observer wasn't showing no love to rap. Man. They wasn't playing nothing on the radio. Yeah. And so I covered it rap like just 90? Because I like rap with everything else.
Early 90s?
This is in, while I was on Bond in 97. Okay. Well, no, I mean, I'm sorry, it had to be before that, because I was gone in 97 to 2001. So this is probably right around that, you know, first of 97, around that range. Okay. So you was covering just everything in Dallas? Everything in Dallas, period. Same thing, like when you go to DallasEntertainmentJournal.com right now, I still own it. Okay. And I changed it to a once-a-year book and an online publication, but back then we were coming out every other week as a tabloid newspaper, just like Observer. Yeah. And so we covered national entertainment and local entertainment. And in the local entertainment, I just did a lot of rap because I liked rap. Yeah. You know, it had other stuff in there, but people were like, I want to jump in there because nobody else was covering it. And who was like some of the people hot at the time? Like, was you just covering some of the people you ended up signing? Good players out of Oak Cliff had some stuff going out. I mean, it was that whole scene of you know, Big Dank was doing stuff. Yeah. Man, it was so many. We did Red Rum had come out. There was a big label on the scene who was doing stuff with Picasso and Goo Goo. We had Young Hustlers. Like I say, we put out. So what I ended up doing was I put out a publication. Yeah. And everybody was on the hip hop stuff so much, so I just said, let's put out a CD. It's called DFW Rap All Stars, Time to Be Heard. Yeah. And we just did a compilation of everybody on there and came out. So people started trying to like call me like, I want to be down with your record label. Y'all getting all this publicity. I was like, man, I ain't got no record label. So it was an accident. It was an accident. So that's how it started. You went from covering rap on the journalism side, just loving it. Right. And then put together a compilation. And and to put out the compilation, we had to come up with get a label to be able to get a barcode.
Yeah, barcode,
so I came up with Dynasty Records. Then at the very end, we had some guys rapping that we knew. So we're like, man, we'll just put them under our label and put their song on there.
Yeah.
And then I went away right after that, after we did the stuff for it and put out the issue and put the CD out. I was gone for the 4 years, and the whole time I'm gone, I kept up with my partner B, who we did PowerHouze together.
Okay.
Later when I got out, but he was doing Top Notch Studios, and he was working with one of the engineers that we had, and I'm sending them letters home from prison that Wendy Day was writing in Rap Coalition to teach them about the music.
Dang,
I mean, she was writing them in Murder Dog magazine to teach them about the music business.
Yeah.
So I'm sending that home to them, and they, you know, whenever I got ready to get out, they're like, "We want to start a label." I'm like,
yeah.
You know, y'all can start a label, but y'all ain't gonna be smoking weed over here at the studio getting me sent back to prison.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, you know, you be the president. You know, we'll partner on it, but you ain't got to be on paper with it.
Yeah.
I was like, you know. I said, you know, what's going on? So at that point in time, whenever I had got back out, like I said, I was on probation and stuff.
Yeah.
So I got with B, we came up and we was gonna do it, but one of the main reasons that I decided to do it with him was he was gonna pay Wendy Day to teach us how to run a record label.
Yeah.
From the ground up.
Yeah.
And that was right after she had done the Cash Money deal to Universal.
Okay.
And then she had done some stuff on Master P. No, she was just a lady in the industry that's, you know, a consultant. She still does stuff, Rap Coalition to this day on like Instagram. But she's super smart, you know, agent, negotiator as far as good independent deals with a lot of controls, which she prides herself in.
So was it worth it, like the investment and?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so you learned so much.
To this day, that was the basis of. We did with PowerHouze back then. We did 11 states and 23 cities, totally independent. She laid it out and introduced us to people in each city. Like we was working with David Banner in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
But this is when he was just really doing beats and starting to do music. You know, as far as that, she connected us with KLC, who we still work with to this day. You know, when we do stuff that was doing beats by the pound and all that. Yeah. Every city they connected us with street team people, marketing people, and we actually toured and did, you know, the whole thing.
Oh yeah, that's dope. And I want to rewind a little bit before we get too deep in it.
Gotcha.
Like, where you from originally?
I've always lived in Oak Cliff.
Yeah, because I always have seen you around, and I mean, a lot of the artists you done broke originally, you know, that was from Oak Cliff, so that's why I was wondering. Then you got your office in a legendary spot, you know, in Oak Cliff, so I was wondering, was that
man, I'm just comfortable here. I've been here my whole life, so even on the mentoring stuff we do, I always have a heart for right here first, because a lot of people think about it being, you know, a race thing, but it's really an opportunity. You kind of, whatever you're around. Hell, I thought I had to sell dope to get enough money to start a detail shop and rim shop. That's what I was stacking for. And I go to prison, I find out I'm in there as white collar people that's teaching me more business than any mentors I had in the streets. So
real talk.
I always am just passionate about, you know, this area, you know, and other areas where people don't have exposure to business people, because people make their money and they move out. So kids don't know. They know football players and they know drug dealers.
And there's other ways. And what got you into the youth stuff? Because it feel like, I mean, from hearing originally, I'm thinking you left music away. But I mean, you never was intending to have a label, right?
Nah, well, I've always just, I knew I had to hire myself. Like I knew everybody that was getting out of prison. Like if you're going to work for somebody, you were screwed. So it was always like, that was the one industry that having a felony was not even it wasn't even bad. It was like, I ain't killed nobody or you know, done anything crazy. I just went to prison for selling weed. So getting into that field, I was like, there's no so what? I'm like probably got less felonies than any other label CEO. So you know, and I love music, and I love, you know, seeing people. I love helping people with their business grow their concept from a baby to a full-blown thing. So
it's just whatever business model. It ain't necessarily music.
And I love music. So I'm a music fan by heart.
But do you feel like you left the game though? Like as a you know, as the city looking at the whole scope of the city and labels, do you feel like you just left it alone?
Oh,
like,
no,
is that
not at
something
all.
you put on
Like,
the back burner?
No, like even a lot of the stuff to this day, I still do a lot of behind the scenes stuff with people. But
Yeah.
whenever I got out of the record label business, I realized that record labels were going to have to go in and start, you know, taking publishing and writers credit and sharing stuff too much.
Yeah.
And I didn't really need it like that, and I didn't want to go into that part of the game.
Yeah.
And then plus putting so much money into the label, it just wasn't a good situation for somebody who wasn't an artist themselves, I felt like. So I didn't, that didn't fit. So I moved from that with, you know, working with Puka Leroy and that movement. I tried management for a little bit, but it was almost like management to me, I was overqualified as a manager.
Yeah.
And it's less of a cut, but it's still, you don't kind of control the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that didn't fit. So finally, when I came up with agency, it just fit for me to be able to help people with music, help people with their business, help, you know, nonprofits. It just, I found my gift is, you know, identifying what's great, promoting to the world.
Yeah,
you know? So helping people name their baby, come up with their baby, promote it, let it, once it gets grown, I step away and let it run itself.
So you can't put yourself in one box, and you're not limited anymore.
Absolutely.
You can work with anybody and do any field.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, even when you was just starting early, man, like some of the artists you had on the roster, I mean, you worked with the Nino, you had the big record with Peace, you know, Big Chief was on Clout.
We did a partnership with Pete, I mean with Big Chief. He was doing his own thing, and he actually tried to come and do a partnership with PowerHouze, and my partner B at that time, after we did those 11 states and 23 cities, is when Southwest Wholesale went out of business.
Yeah.
And it lost a lot of our products, so he kind of got a little, you know, upset over that, and you know, and it bothered him that we did that much work and he didn't, you know, see a return, so he was kind of sitting stagnant with it. So I brought the Chief record to him first, and I said, man, this guy's got a buzz. He's, you know, funding his own stuff. He just wants to see me market it. So the first thing on doing that was I brought it, and then B was like, no, I'm not gonna jump him in front of other people. I said, well, I'm gonna put it out under, you know, I'm gonna help him put it out. I'll bring it back when he finishes, and I brought it back, and then that's when I started Clout, and it kind of, when I put that imprint on there, when I put the imprint on there, at first my partner was like, where you gonna run this label from? So I'm like, say no problem, Bob, you know, we ain't really doing nothing if I need to get my own spot. So I got my own spot, and we fell out for about 2 or 3 weeks, but we was cool back, you know, talking shit with each other ever since, and I just went my own way, you know. And
okay, so PowerHouze was actually before Clout.
Right.
Okay, I didn't even realize it. So, you know, I'm a little younger, so some of that stuff was going on when I was like real young, but then I caught probably the 97, 98, even though I'm still probably in middle school around that time. I wasn't even in high school yet. So I do feel like that, that was the beginning, the very beginning of like Dallas exposure, because can you tell me a little bit, like, okay, y'all got the buzz, got the big record, this is after the PowerHouze, and like, was you actually a part of Oak Cliff, That's My Hood, or was that
So
after?
what happened was, I opened up, when I left from doing PowerHouze, which we had a studio over by Empire Central, I opened up, tried to, I know G-Lo's gonna watch this and laugh his ass off, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing with anything, owning the club, or doing anything that has inventory. I absolutely am not the person to do that shit. So record store was a big fail. So I opened up D-Town Scene right next to offices in our recording studio right there by Camp Wisdom and Copper Hill Road, right there in those storefronts. So when I opened that up, Nino and B Brown and them used to come by the studio all the time and just pop up, and then they started doing some recording, and really Oak Cliff, That's My Hood had kind of died out from what they were getting on the radio in Dallas, and it was on its downslope. So they're like, you know, let's do some work together. We see what you're doing with the studio.
Type of shit was actually
it hadn't started that yet. But what was going on? We were putting out the guys that we had on the roster, and Lil Peace was getting this stuff together, and at the same time they were hanging around. Like I say, the spins in Dallas had died off. And all of a sudden, people from out of town started calling, even though Dallas had died down, wanting to book shows. So when they were going to do it at first. They were going to come and be be a group underneath my label and still say solo artists underneath Lil Fred Records was theirs.
Yeah.
Because we thought we were about to, you know, have to start from scratch again.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, like Houston started calling. Everybody started calling for shows, and they were calling me. You know, like, who are these guys out of Dallas? Because I was working with a lot of, you know, different cities and people. So we started booking so many shows. We're like, damn, we got to bump this roster up and go ahead and do it. Yeah. So we first did making them a group, because I had two artists that was ready to go right then. They was on a record together, so we put it on.
And that's Peace and.
No, that was Nino and Hotboy Star.
Nino and Star. Okay, so so Oak Cliff record was really made before they kind of met you or coming around.
Yeah, absolutely, before they met me.
Okay.
And they did all.
So I didn't know Lil Fred Records was theirs.
Yeah.
I always.
His brother B Brown and Nino was the co-CEO.
I never knew where that came into play.
It was named after their stepdad, and they got all that buzz from when it went on the radio.
Okay, I didn't realize that was before you. Okay, because that record is so big and live on to this day. I really don't know when it came out.
Yeah.
You know,
it had a rebirth after we started putting it out, and we did some remix stuff. But no, they did that. High schoolers in the area just
some people was basically calling y'all from the buzz of the records
out of town after it kind of died
down here. Yeah. And then so you basically built your momentum on that. So who did you add after that?
No, we still had the same team we were working with. We just incorporated them, and they kind of jumped in front of everybody because we had to start booking them. So rather than paying to go to other cities and promote, we started going and promoting off of them bringing us for shows.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we did. And we did a compilation at the same time with all the artists, you know, who were affiliated with Clout on the same CD. So we worked that while we were working their stuff as well.
And then you actually, man, like built up, and this is something that, you know, is researchable, Googleable. Like y'all built up, and then you got the deal with EMI, like.
Right.
And this is like groundbreaking for Dallas, because I'm trying to, when I go back and I always try to think about major labels that we had here or people that laid the foundation to even, you know, get any light put on us, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that was kind of like the beginning, because it was a little bit before the internet went crazy, or the internet era, you know what I'm saying, I would say. And I mean, I think that was a lot. And then it was, from what you could see, I guess what I read online, it was a 75-25 split. I mean, which sounds groundbreaking.
Yeah, they came to us, and they knew we were getting. So at that point, we started working on the Lil Peace album.
Yeah. And
Hit the Dance Floor came out when we had all the clubs popping, and then we started getting radio in Dallas, and we started adding radio in other cities at the same time.
Yeah.
So labels started contacting us for Lil Peace, but I was thinking that we was going to end up doing a deal with the Lil Peace thing. I didn't know we had enough buzz to get a label deal, but they were saying, y'all getting all this yourself. So EMI stepped up. We had a meeting with EMI, and I said, look, if I had my perfect scenario, I'd want to do a 50-50 partnership with y'all. And then, you know, y'all put up about $250,000, you know, because I was already spending myself about 40 or 50 grand into marketing and putting stuff out and doing all of that. So I said, if y'all would do that, let's go 50-50 and just partner. And they came back and they were like, look, we won't do 50-50, but we'll do 125 and give y'all 75%. Man, and I was like, what the hell? I didn't want to say yes too fast to it. I was like, I thought that would, no way that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting the Ward White as our attorney and negotiating the deal, and they came down here and signed us in Dallas. It was important for me that they came down here, saw all the club nights, stayed 3 or 4 days. We did our press conference here. We did our partnership stuff with EMI, and that was the biggest record labels that they had were Virgin and Capitol at that time.
Man.
So they had pretty much put us as a priority to be able to really take that hip hop and run with it. But, you know, like I say, stuff kind of timing of things fell apart as we started putting the record out.
So did you ever put it out? Because it's like, dang.
Yeah, we dropped the compilation. What they were doing were they were wanting us to drop the compilation, and we had a 3-album deal. We had a deal for Lil Peace, the compilation, and then it was for Big Chief, which we switched it out and tried to do the last one with Nino and Star, because Chief had a record that he was doing himself with Koch at that time.
Okay.
So the record went out, and Lil Peace got locked up right around the time the record went out, but it wasn't for anything big. It was just like, I think he had a gun charge or something. It was probation violation, but it was, he couldn't do radio the week that his album came out, and then it only took him about another week afterwards to get out. So it kind of killed a lot of the momentum where you would go on the radio
at that time. I can
and record labels back then, if they go by your first week sales, if you don't have great sales first week, then it kind of gets back burner. And we did good, and then we actually came back with some better sales later. But at that point in time, the chemistry was just kind of throwing off. We were like, nah, we don't want to drop another one until we're really ready.
Yeah.
And you know,
then probably the single was already on the downslide by the time y'all signed.
Yeah. And the single was hot before we negotiated a deal.
Yeah.
And then the radio station in Dallas, it was crazy. I'm not even gonna say names on that, but we had a follow-up single that was a good single ready to go, and had commitment from the radio station, and dude just flipped out and wouldn't let them play it.
Man, that's crazy.
So, and they was getting played in the streets and everything else, so it kind of, you know, messed up some momentum on that. But you know,
that's wild. That's how I go though, man. Like Dallas, I don't know why we just won't, because that's what we need, that support from our city, but they pick and choose, you know.
Yeah. And then I can't ever, you know, like I say, in Dallas, we've never had the people with the money, the people with the talent, the right song, the right team at the right time.
Yeah.
And then you can have all that, and still there's a certain amount of luck involved. So, you know, it's hard to say. If this stuff was an exact science, everybody would be doing this industry.
Exactly.
You know,
I just always try to figure out why our cousins, you know, Houston up the street, got the infrastructure, but this was the beginning of it. I feel like around you guys era, you and G-Lo getting the deals, and y'all kind of got to be crash dummies.
Yeah.
For people to know, you know what I'm saying? Because before then, I can't really, I mean, I'm sure it was, but in my era, I can't really think of too many other people that was getting deals. But right after that, that boogie movement come, and then everybody getting a deal. Like any song that dropped, the label's coming pretty much. Yeah,
and it was a lot of bad deals on that stuff that kind of set us back a little bit from, you know, people that were just signing and running with it. And you know, like I say, it's everything's a learning process. Like I really love the talent we have now, and I love the sound that's coming out. And I think that you have a lot of record label people who are doing a great job of taking old school, new school, putting it together, and trying different stuff with it too. So
and that's why, man, I'm here, man. I'm trying to educate people and preserve our legends at the same time, man. I kind of asked you this when I chopped it up with you on the phone the other day. Who you think like some of the top 5 labels is? Because I kind of feel like I got to put you in that conversation, because you kind of seen the mountaintop with getting the deal.
You mean as far as what's going on around here, or
just DFW history? You know, since you've been around, who are some of the top 5 independent labels that you think that, you know, kind of held it down over time?
Man, that is a good question, but
because it ain't many, it's hard to even name.
But also there was a lot of, like I say, we always had scattered talent that didn't match up with the funding. Even myself, if I could have got a record deal when I was working with PowerHouze, and I wasn't having to take money out of clubs, throw parties to make money to put into the music, stuff was just aside, I feel like I was always a better executive for, you know, when I didn't have anything else to do. But we've always had to, you know, do that in Dallas as far as fund ourselves, whether it be through, you know, whatever we're doing. That in other cities there's somebody who puts up a big budget, and then they put people in charge to run it and go. So we've kind of always multitasked. But I mean, the stuff that DSR did comes to mind. I think Red Rum Records was there. There's you know, Cottonmouth and Rally Boys. I was locked up listening to them, being proud of all the stuff that they were doing. Stampede had a nice team behind
Stampede.
them.
That's the one I forgot about.
You know, Pookie and Lucci with Kevin A and all of that, you know, they always had a excellent formula for, you know, getting to radio, doing things, you know, putting out great music. Man, it's really a lot that, you know, over time I think people over time have studied what everybody's done and then they might have said, okay, Clout promotes like crazy. Let's take that part. And then the radio part, these people use this and they get this result. So they use that. So I think we've learned. I don't think we've shared markets and shared information enough the way that we should to make sure the next people get it. So like now, when people from Dallas go out, I say, just let me know where you're going. I got connections there. You know, I'll just tell you because you're going there anyway. Yeah, you know,
you still around, man. I always see you in the streets, still affiliated. So, and then too, another thing before we get out of here, I remember the like when I think of Clout, I think of, and I'm like I say, I'm a little younger, so Clout, I think of Rhythm City, I think of DMX. Like, what affiliation did you have with these clubs?
So the club stuff that I was doing, I always never really cared about being a promoter. I always wanted to throw huge parties and break music, though. So even now, if I'm working with a business and I do an event for them, it ain't as much to make money off the event as it is to brand the business. So I just saw that if we could have huge parties playing our own music, the radio stations would have to take notice that we have a following. So that was why I built that. And it's funny that you say that and you say Rhythm City, because for the past year and a half since we've been going all across the country doing the mentor stuff, I've kind of, you know, not done as many club nights, or, you know, just kind of been more behind the scenes with that stuff. But on March 12th, we're doing a Rhythm City reunion at Jamie's and bringing back, we're not doing reunion stuff every Thursday moving forward, but we're doing a thing called Texas Size Thursdays every Thursday, which I want you involved in. An 8 to 10 media meeting and mixer, and then flowing into a party. We'll have a Papa Ron DJ, and we'll be having pop-out performances where the DJ will just be spinning and then somebody will end up performing that song and getting off the stage. But doing, you know, a once a week, trying to put together a huge party that plays our music, that lets people come to the city, see what we have going on, attaches to the media, and does that. And you know, for the longest, I haven't either had the right club or the right agreement with a club owner to be able to do that. And we've been so busy, like, people always ask me about the music stuff. It's like, no, I'm never shut the door. I always, you know, still talk to people, stay involved, but I'm not an artist myself, so it's not like I can put myself out and make myself hot. But this other stuff that we're doing is so much more necessary as far as stopping the violence and things that's going on. So at one point you're looking at, you can promote this artist and be here. Another thing you're looking at, like, man, you got kids getting killed over here. So one of the things that's prompting me to jump back into doing more with music and even do a club night is now I know, now that we're doing a movement instead of one-on-one mentoring, it's important for us to be able to get influencers. And when I'm at my best is when I can do favors for people to help them get their records hot and to do things. So this is something that I'm doing because at the end of the day, I want a bunch of artists to step up and help this movement that we're doing with OGU, using the OGs and influencers to put the word out there that, you know, doesn't matter what you've been through. You don't want your little brother getting killed. You don't want your sister getting killed. And you know, a lot of people even talk to me on stuff and they're like, oh man, you a preacher now. I mean, I don't know how to read scripture. I go to church on Sundays, but I go to church because I got a pastor who came and got me from the club and said, you got 3,000 people drinking every night. I need you to help me save some kids. And I was like, okay, what's up with that? So kinda over time, we've been friends for this many years, and we've really been trying to, you know, give some other stuff to the culture as well too. And we know we have to do some of that through music and influence. So that's another reason why we're doing it. But it's bigger than music too, though.
So that's pretty much, I mean, right now that's the OGU, that's what we got going. And
and like I say, World Clout Agency, I still help multiple businesses. You know, I love helping people with their business. I love marketing stuff. I like people, you know, helping people. If you're an artist or if you're a label or a manager, I love helping people learn the business.
Yeah.
But it's a difference between doing that versus helping somebody get hot.
Exactly.
And then they don't understand what goes on behind the business because they're only going to be happy when they're hot. But if we can connect you and come up with a concept of how you want your business to look, and I can draw from their ideas in their brain, bounce my ideas and connections off of them, and come up and help people build strong brands and companies, that's really what I'm about.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. So anything else you got to get off your chest when we get out of here, man?
Nah, man. Like I said, I love what you're doing. Let me say that on camera.
Yeah.
Very informative stuff. You know, you're not just, you know, trying to get clicks by a bunch of, you know, controversial stuff, which is super important right now. And I think real media is gonna stand out. I will be launching the DFWrap.com pretty soon. We still have Dallas Entertainment Journal. Yeah. Even that's kind of taken a back burner as we've grown to, because we're in Atlanta doing the OGU. We're in Baton Rouge. We just went to Detroit, and of course we operated out of Dallas. So it's kind of been sending us a little bit where, but starting on March 12th, we're really on top of our media as well too, which is DFWrap.com, Dallas Entertainment Journal, and then we're launching famous.com, which is fame, artists, models, underground urban scenes, but it's a national publication.
Man. Yeah, that's dope.
It's a national publication focusing on also the urban scene in each city with some regional stuff. So I want to work with, you know, you on that stuff and everybody else. Yeah. When we do our media meetings and mixers, I don't see competition. I see everybody as being able to put a light on one thing. So
yeah, multimedia. You know, I ain't gonna lie to you. I definitely look at it as a competition now.
Really, you do? That's cool.
In a way, because I'm so passionate. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't, and then I used to look at greats be passionate and be like, damn, why? Like some of my friends, like, why are you competing? Like I used to be like that. Like, damn, why y'all compete? But now that I'm in this shit, I gotta be the best, like, you know what I'm saying?
As long as you do it the right way and got integrity with it.
Yeah, I got integrity.
And you're using the drive. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's all good. I ain't shitting on nobody or hating on nobody, and we ain't on no clickbait shit. It's just straight real information over here, man.
And even when I was doing clubs, it wasn't a competition with the clubs, but what I found out was when they saw a lot of artists coming to the clubs and bringing an entourage with them and getting their music played, they started copying the format, which is that's what I wanted to happen anyway.
And that's where you was breaking it. Like I said, Rhythm City, but I was too young to know. But that's where you was at, Rhythm City, DMX, Stress. I've done over 35 clubs in Dallas. Yeah, so you kind of changed the culture then. We've probably done 20 clubs where we've had over 1,000 people on a weekly basis. Yeah. You know, M5. Only mess up of buying and losing that one. I was just gonna say, what happened to that? They changed All-Star Studio Lounge that we put together was a studio inside of an after-hours club that we was ahead of the game and messed that up. It would work to this day, but like I say, I'm not a club owner, and I'm damn sure anything in inventory, don't even come to me. If you want me to do inventory, I'm not your guy. So if you want me to run my mouth and tell people about you and promote, then call me. Other than that, day to day, keeping up with you know, how many beans get sold, that is not me. So you heard it here first, man. Corey Clout, man. Appreciate you having me. Man, being on here, man. Drive a seat.